Hi everyone, it's me, Tulip. I know it's been like a young minute since we've spoken. So today was a bit of an interesting day. I was actually woken up by the pool pump um, with all the heat that we've been experiencing in Pretoria and water restrictions and all that sort of stuff. Our pool pump or our pool levels have sort of dropped to where they would normally be. So when it drops to a particular point, it starts to make a noise, like a gurgling sound. So today at like just before 7, I was woken up by this like crazy gurgling sound like water was being opened, but it was like terrible. So it took me all of like 20 minutes to actually realize, oh shit, it's a pool pump. It's like, okay, cool. I guess now I have to drag myself downstairs and go sort that out. Anyway, it was actually quite a nice day. It was very grey for the majority of the day. It's sort of cleared up towards the end of the day. And yeah, but I think once I got over the whole being woken up prematurely, what I actually ended up, the space that I ended up getting into was just the appreciation of early morning, right? So for me, early mornings, especially when it's like super quiet, there's not like no one's anyone stirring, it's just like the birds and distant sounds, is that it feels like a little, like you have your own little secret, right? Like your own little secret, like your own little corner of the world that you are the only one inhabiting and nobody else knows about it. And it feels so amazing because it's so peaceful, it's so quiet, and it just gives you a moment just to breathe and just to be, without the distractions of everyday goings on, well, whether it's people or like cars or any sort of sounds that happen on a day-to-day basis. And so it got me into a place of just really appreciating silence and just the thoughts that evokes. And for me, it evoked a sense of peace, and the appreciation of the solitude. But bigger than that, it got me into a place of gratitude. I mean, I think that's a very important thing. Like, gratitude is something that I think a lot of the time we overlook. We don't actually give it as much importance or credence as it deserves, because I think gratitude is actually what buoys us up as people. And I started to actually really explore that space, go into that space, and just sort of simplifying life and just appreciating just the things that I have in my life. And it got me to a point of also, trying to get myself to a point where I wasn't wanting anything, or wanting for anything. And I mean, of course, I'm always grateful for the position that I find myself in, but I also find myself thinking about what is it that drives us to a point of always wanting. So, always wanting the next thing, always wanting to do this, or, you know, buying the next item and doing the next thing, or, being with people, or, but what is it that drives you to not feel like where you are is enough, you know? And what you have is enough, and what you've had is enough. And I think it's an important point to explore because, once you start to depart from a point of not wanting, needing anything, I think, and being grateful for what you do have, I think that's really when the universe opens up for you. So that in itself leads to a whole lot of sort of like positive thoughts and occurrences in your life. I know this sounds very sort of like esoteric and, airy fairy for people who don't believe that sort of stuff. But for me, I feel like it's a really great sort of way to lift yourself out of a funk, or a mood that you may be in, because sometimes we do find ourselves in those spaces where you just don't feel like things are happening as they should, or you've put so much into something and it's not working out the way that you would have wanted or expected to. But I think once you get mired in that, that's when you start to lose the sense of positivity and looking for the optimism in the situation and how to look at things differently, or just in terms of just appreciating the moment where you are. And so yeah, that's where I was. I ended up like watching a gratitude video on Oprah and like reading a whole lot of like inspirational gratitude like literature, and sharing that with a lot of people in my life as well. Like I know I shared it with like my parents, some friends of mine, and well, my timelines as well. And I found that that actually got me to a much better mood. And yeah, I think as a result of that, my day actually panned out um, better than it would have had I not tapped into that. So I think for me, it has to be like a concerted effort that I always think about, that in those moments where I feel like I'm at my lowest, or things are not going the best, or there's nothing particularly exciting about what's happening at the moment or inspiring, just tap into gratitude. And I think that's when, all those things that you've been looking for actually start to open up for you. So those are my thoughts this Sunday. Gratitude. It's a thing. Let's be about it.